Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth Marasco, and if you are ready for your business to shine and grow in extraordinary ways, this is a segment that you don't want to miss. I am with a very special guest, and actually somebody that I respect and I've learned quite a bit from. I want to introduce you to Stacia Kennedy.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you were able to make it with me today. So right now we are kind of in extraordinary times. A lot of businesses are changing their model and how they operate, including getting involved more with online business and marketing. And that was one of the reasons why I asked you to come on today, is to share a little bit about, your background and insight and maybe where you see things going in the year, 2 years, 5 years. So for starters, why don't you maybe share a little bit about your background and how you even got into online marketing?
Sure. Thanks for having me again. I am Stacia Kennedy. I am an online marketing coach and launch strategist. And I know that sounds like a lot of different things, but I got started about almost 10 years, actually over 10 years ago now, in 2009, 2008, 2009. I videotaped my mentor speaking, and he was in real estate. And at the time, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was, doing just pretty much working for friends, online things, and just trying to make it happen. Actually, I was a single mom at the time, and was in between maybe going into real estate. My aunt and uncle was like, you should really get into real estate. And I was like, okay. And then that's kind of opened my eyes up to some books in entrepreneurship, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like getting out of the rat race. Like nobody teaches you this kind of stuff when you're a kid, right? Growing up, like, oh my gosh, you can actually get out of a rat race and create passive income. That'd be so cool. So that kind of slowly got me into it. And then what happened, long story short, I filmed my mentor speaking, who happened to be a real estate developer and investor. And he had this great story. And I just had this, I don't know if it was an inspiration or a calling to just film him with my, at the time, I don't know if you remember those flip cams. I had a flip cam at the time, and I filmed him speaking and posted it on Facebook and tagged him. And he was like, how did you do that? He called me up. So this is a tip right here, to get it, in front of someone of influence and affluence, someone's attention is to do something nice, right? So all I did was really post it on my personal Facebook page and tagged him and was like, check out this awesome guy, that he has this great story, and you should definitely like get to know him and his story. And I was just inspired because he came from nothing and came over to this country with the American dream, and then also became a real estate agent in the end to help other people achieve that American dream. And then also was able to take his income from that and invest it into homes and properties and rentals, and partner with a nonprofit to build houses for the homeless. And so giving back kind of full circle, because at one point when they came to this country, they were homeless, homeless, 8 kids, nothing, with like $100, And so I was just inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, that old Tony Robbins quote that says, like, if you want something in life, you duplicate what others have already done. So I looked at the opportunity as like, I just wanted to see what he did, and just went with a genuine, mindset of like, I just want to learn more. And if I could duplicate what he's doing and learn from him, I didn't even care if he was, hiring, or I didn't know he was hiring, because I did that act of genuine service. He actually called me, and I met up with his wife and him, and he said they actually are looking for an assistant, which ended up being an assistant / marketing director / everything that was like, let's give it a try for 6 months, or 90 days, I guess. And then it ended up being 7 years. And that's how I got started immersing myself in online marketing, trying to get him in front of more people. Because as you know, in real estate, it's not just working with just your customers or your clients, is being on top of mind after the sale, and making sure that they remember you not only just from that one purchase, but down the line, and referrals. And that kind of spiraled into all the things that I do. He was so happy with my service that actually we're pretty much, I kind of consider him my rich dad, and I owe a lot to him on what I learned, just because I was like, I don't even care what you pay me. I just want to learn from you and duplicate what you're doing. And I want to buy houses and, become a multi-millionaire. And so he invested in me and I invested in myself. And I just really got really obsessed with online marketing and helping people get in front of more people using the internet. And so, speaking of where things are going, I've never been busier in my life, because now people are realizing even more so that how do we get in front of more people? We can't meet people anymore. We can't knock on doors. We can't, originally the whole reason I want to do is because he didn't want to cold call anymore too. That was what he was famous for, is the hustle. Actually, this is his shirt that I'm wearing, actually. No grind and stay aligned. If you guys maybe just listening in the auto, you can't see my shirt, but it's just, there's a line right through grind and stay aligned. So it was like, for 10 years, he knocked on doors, 100 doors a day. And that was very grinding, but there is actually another way to do it. And that's kind of a spiritual way of like just getting in an alignment. And that's why all the multimillionaires that I study and that I work with are always really it's probably 90% mindsets, maybe even more.
I agree. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's important to make sure that your sphere of influence that you're allowing to come into your life sort of has that undertone of that good feeling, that positive mindset. Something you were saying earlier about learning or growing and sharing what you have, your gifts with other people. I think that becomes a key really at all stages in life, because when you give back, you do get that law of reciprocity where it comes back into you. But one famous story I think of is with Napoleon Hill with Think and Grow Rich. And when he was first approaching Andrew Carnegie about, I want to learn from you, he gave him the option, do you want to come study me for a year for free? You're not going to get paid anything. And if more people embrace that mindset of being willing to really value the knowledge that you can get from peers that have already gone through it, like you were saying, don't reinvent that wheel, and being able to share your time for free, you actually can receive more than a paycheck could be. Yes. And that happened to be his case,
Yeah. I actually, I learned a lot. I mean, for 7 years, I didn't actually get a raise. I got a raise once in the 7 years, but that's also because I didn't ask, and so I learned just in that aspect of knowing your worth and actually ask, no matter what you do, whether you're asking for, a raise or asking for the sale or asking, just, naming your price on your product or your service. But this is actually, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because while I was working with him, he would always ask me, so what are you learning? Stacia, my name is Stacia, but a lot of people call me Stacia when they get to know me, so you can call me Stacia. But he would always say, what are you learning from me? And so I actually ended up, I'm so sad that I actually let it go. I don't know why I did this, but I had a website that I made called The Millionaires in Training. So not just millionaire, but the millionaires as a woman in training. So I would blog about the different things that I was learning from him. And and that's definitely how I came, or what I was, using that platform where I wanted to be like Napoleon Hill, just come from a genuine place of learning the habits of a multimillionaire. I actually even interviewed Gary Vaynerchuk too. I turned it into a podcast too.
Did you? Nice.
I still have it somewhere in the archives.
Fun. Yeah, that's a highlight moment in a career for business. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really about coming from that genuine place, and like there's so many times, yeah, my even actually my husband would be like, there's nothing for free, why are you working for free? And literally actually I don't mind. I guess there's certain situations where I will like, I'm like hardcore loyal. Like I worked for a client and he's a really good friend of mine. And I worked and I don't know, I just had this all knowing that something was about to hit. And I just knew that I want to be supportive. Like I don't know, unconditionally. Like there's a Zig Ziglar quote, right? Like your success and your happiness is actually Zig Ziglar quote, and my mentor twisted into a different meaning, but it was
Gotcha,
your
gotcha.
success. Yeah, your success and happiness is determined by the number of people you serve selflessly. So I guess that's what I don't know. I guess you could say I grew up, with that saying. Anyways, I worked for this guy for like maybe 3 months without pay.
Wow.
Finally, I was actually at my breaking point. I was like, dude, I'm gonna stay. I believe in you, but like it's getting to a point where I have to go focus some of my energy in somewhere else. And after that point, he literally, after we did our first challenge, which is something that I'm working with you and a few other students on, is helping them grow their business through launches and challenges. And after their first challenge, he had his biggest month ever and paid back everything that he owed me in my monthly fee.
Nice.
So, and literally this morning, another situation, not in a particular launch, but I've been doing some coaching and stuff for a mentor of mine. And I wasn't expecting anything in return for the time that I've been putting in coaching his mentorship program. We are partnering in some things in the future, but that hasn't panned, like we haven't like solidified it yet. But literally this morning, I got a Zelle payment of $400 just for gratitude for my service. So it's like, see, like there's a reason why I put my energy towards people that I think that are worth it, and I don't mind doing that. And I don't do it because I think I'm going to get something. Is what I guess is what I'm sharing.
Exactly. And actually those investments sometimes can become the most enriched relationships that you find, because you're investing yourself and they are investing themselves into that relationship, or I'll call it an oasis of knowledge. And and it requires a flow of sharing and caring, and not being only consuming what the other person's giving you. There's got to be a pushback. So that's good.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
only do it if it's in a situation that it's not gonna hurt you. like
Mhm.
like I'm not saying work for free, no, like for the last 3 months I was able, unfortunately I had income coming from other sources, so I was able to give myself to that client for those amount of months. But it was getting to a point where I was like, the amount of energy and work I'm putting into that, I'm going to have to go somewhere else soon. But I didn't say anything. But
Mhm.
yeah, like if I was in a point where I was like really really struggling, like and that's where you get in trouble, because everyone's always like, oh, give, but nobody's giving back. Well, it may not necessarily come back to you directly from that person, but don't continue to do it if it's going to hurt you.
That's right. That's right. And there's other ways, I think, of evaluating, like taking the time to evaluate each business relationship to find out if that's a good fit or it's not. Because another thing that a lot of business people do, I believe, is undersell themselves, where they'll put their service or knowledge out there, and they do the blue light special at Kmart, and then they wonder why their business is not succeeding. Um, Kind of like spinning off that, this is something I've been thinking about. One of the differences between entrepreneurs and business owners versus business leaders is often the people that are like the owner or the entrepreneur, they have to monitor all these expenses, because that directly determines their success or failure. Bottom line, you have to have a profit to continue to grow your company. Whereas sometimes within larger organizations, you might not be aware of like those micro expenses that add up to big dollar amounts. And for business owners and entrepreneurs, I mean, really even for the corporations, but it's a little bit different because you have to be ultra conscious of, what is coming in and what is going out. And you have to do it at like a macro and a micro scale of assessing, what are those expenses. And it's funny because I've even seen customers for myself where I'll explain like the expenses behind the scenes. And some of them will have light bulb moments like, oh, I didn't know, that there are all these expenses to do what you want. Because even in the digital age, even with like everything's digital, I don't have a cameraman working my camera. You don't have a cameraman or woman working over there. It's just us doing it. There's still expenses that are associated. And I think that it's important for people to know their value, and you have to charge prices so that you can properly support those, future activities that you want to do.
Yeah, it's not just the softwares and the which, those can definitely be add up. It can definitely add up, but it's also the education, like, I mean, I didn't really go to school necessarily, but I've invested in a lot of different coaching and a lot of different programs, and then the time of you learning. So when you hire someone like me, it's like you're not spending or you're not paying a certain amount of money because of all the courses and things or the coaching that I offer. I'm actually, you're paying for the 10 years that I've been doing this.
That's right. It reminds me, background with my agency is we started with event production and marketing. So we've done a lot of big corporate events. And for most of the entertainment that we would bring in, it would be highly skilled entertainers, where it could be like aerialists, acrobats, fire eaters, all kinds of way out there stuff. And it made it super exciting for the corporate event. But this was the thing. They would come in and provide entertainment for an hour to 2 hours. And there was this one conversation that I happened to overhear, and somebody was asking about what was the fee for the entertainment. And they had calculated that like one of the entertainers was making, it was like $500 an hour while they're at the event. And they were upset. Like, I don't even make that much money. But this is the thing. That entertainer is not working just that 1 hour. That entertainer has busted their ass for years, but even we'll just say for this performance, 2 weeks solid, to make sure that they were able to provide the most exciting nonstop entertainment throughout the whole evening. And the same with technology. Like, you can get on a call, and I have seen Stacia do this. I've witnessed it. Like, get on a Zoom call, and she looks at people's marketing message or content and, kind of does her slash with it and clean up real quick in 15 minutes. But it wasn't 15 minutes of work. That was probably 15 months of learning and growing.
Yep, definitely. And trial and testing. I've been on a call with a client of mine, and he was like, this is the stuff that makes people want to quit. Like, if you weren't here, like, I would totally want to quit, because I'm like, oh, sorry, that didn't work. Oh, let's try this. How about try that? Right. Until it finally worked, and he was like, oh, I would have been here not just for this hour of coaching of figuring this out on my own. It would have taken me weeks and months, and like, I don't know, maybe not even that, maybe longer.
Right. And actually that leads to a kind of an important part, something that Rachel says all the time, which is information's cheap. And the point is you can have a lot of information out there, but if you can get directed to exactly what you need, that's customized to your needs and demands, I think that's where you can propel. So I can see how you could bring relief like that to a client. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna keep
Yeah.
on going. Be willing to adapt, right?
Yeah, be flexible. This is about flexibility. That's the thing. Talking about, to answer your question about where the technology and where things are going, it's always being flexible is so important because it is always ever changing. So, things will pop up, like, TikTok's up now. Like, there's now, maybe TikTok might be taken down by the president. I don't know.
You don't
Like, Facebook,
know.
Instagram just came out with a new thing called Reel, like literally today, which is similar to TikTok. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that come up, and then there's a lot, also a reason why coaches and like myself, it's very important to align yourself with someone who can say, hey, you know what, you're not ready for that yet. Let's just focus on one thing first, like, because we can get so inundated with all the different shiny objects.
Somebody trying to take a jump off the deep dive and they haven't even made it through the kiddie pool yet. Slow down, baby. Slow down. We'll get there. We'll get there. Something that Gary Vee has talked about multiple times, even with kids and technology, is allow them to get exposed to it because it is a part of our life. And I think that it's going to continue to evolve. We'll see more things like the virtual reality. I think even more things with even audio coming up. What are some things that you think that you foresee happening with the marketing world in the future, even just the near future? I didn't even know about Instagram, by the way.
Yeah, that literally just came out today. Yeah, they're doing something new that's very similar to TikTok, but as far as, I think for me, like the live video, like we already are social creatures
Mm-hmm.
by nature, by humanality, and that's why I love the aspect of doing live streams to connect with people and to get your message out there. And so I'm going to, we already see a lot of that, but I hope that people adapt to being, to doing more of that for their business. So, and I always tell people though, but if not, I mean, because video is just so important. Like, people are watching more video, we're at home more often. So whether it's video, podcast, or audio, like there's going to be more of that in a live aspect. And I think if you want real connections and, sure, people buy things from people that they don't know about, but, or like maybe you just see an ad and they buy things. Sure, you can create an ad and try to sell it that way. But if you really want to have create a community and create that interaction, there's nothing like live video or watching even if it's pre-recorded, but live in even better. When, I don't know about you've been on my live streams, and if you heard someone or seen me call you out and saying, hey Liz, like, thanks for being here, like, there's nothing about hearing the sound of your own voice, and then you instantly build that interaction and connection with me, and you're more likely going to want to buy from me in the future, or continuously buy a lot of the products or services or whatever I'm selling at the time.
Yeah, I think that human connection is definitely important. Dale Carnegie used to say, the most magical word anyone will hear is their name. And I think that especially if you're saying it, and you're doing it live and you're connecting with those people, it kind of brings it a little bit closer to home. Now, I know that you're comfortable on camera, and I'm kind of comfortable on camera, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So if you were to give like a couple pieces of advice, just like 2 or 3 pieces of advice for going live and getting into that comfort zone, what can you suggest? What can you share with people?
I say this all the time in my interviews, that I always say, if you are more concerned about yourself and how you look and the camera, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's not about you. It's about the message, and you're doing a disservice to all the other people out there who are worthy of, like, who need to hear that, to hear your message. So get out of your own way. If you need to get a coach, a video coach or video confidence coach, I actually have a friend of mine who does that for a living. But yeah, it's really like, that's also not even just live in doing videos, period. Like, I think that's like one of the biggest fears, right? Just public speaking in general. And one of my mentors, again, same mentor, always told me that if you are getting into your head about yourself, it's not about you, it's the message. So just pretend like you're talking to your best friend and you'll be fine.
I like that idea because if you focus on the message and not yourself, you're serving other people. You're kind of taking off that pressure from
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting that spotlight. Make it about other people. It's good. So, but yeah, you do have a natural, I think, presence, and along with sharing wisdom, you kind of do it in a way where people feel we feel like you know each other. And that's one of the gifts of digital connection. We get to meet
Yeah.
these people from all over the place.
And the repetition is the mother of all skill, you know? So, I mean, literally, I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy and obsessed, but I will literally go live on my Facebook business page, and then I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I like it. Maybe I might delete it. Maybe, and then I'll go live again, say the same thing on my personal page. Then I'll go live again on Instagram and say the same thing until I perfect it. Yeah, perfect it.
Practice. Yeah, that's smart. I think I do. So, like for the marketing, where do you think that this is going to go? Well, you're talking about like TikTok's going, Instagram's coming up. If a business owner was about to get into starting to really promote online, what would be one of the first places you would tell them to look at? And I know everybody's different. Some might have a website, some might not. But what would be like one of the first places you would suggest they start?
Yeah, I always say, I'm like, maybe that's a total lawyer answer, right? It depends. It depends on where, who your niche is, right? Like, where are they hanging out? I like YouTube the best, just because if you are in, which most of us are, you're looking for hot buyers and, people who are ready and, looking for your product or your service. If you are creating videos with keywords that are that people are searching for, right? They want to learn about how to avoid something, right? How to avoid the roadblocks of this type of issue, or how to learn how to cut a pineapple. Like they're looking and using Google, and which is Google and YouTube are owned by the same place. So when someone's actually typing in what they're looking for, or they're looking for a problem to a solution to their problem, if you're coming up as the which we are all entrepreneurs, and as an entrepreneur you're here to solve problems, so if you're coming up as the top keyword for that problem, that's going to be the best way to build your business. If you're just so adamant about not doing video, hire someone to be the spokesperson. Or maybe you're a good writer. I actually have someone who is really great at writing. She doesn't want to be on camera, so start a blog, start writing. Or if you're not a good writer and you just don't have a face for the camera, then do a podcast. You have to do something to get your message out there.
So you have no excuses, no face, written word, spoken word, on video, get out there. I like it. I like it. And it's actually the voice of like a mother right there. And speaking of moms, I want to talk to you about this because you actually are, like most of us right now, working out of home, trying to adjust to everything going on, COVID, balancing family, and you do it gracefully. But I'm wondering if you might be able to give a couple of tips to some that are adjusting to being at home while the kids are there. And especially if we go back, this fall, if some of the kids are still at home and we're working at home, what wisdom do you have for those kind of entrepreneurs and business leaders?
I always tell my, I have a 19-year-old. I don't know if you remember that. I have a 19-year-old, but he doesn't live at home anymore. But he's just so much like me. So he actually edits video. So I don't have to worry about him, but I do have a 3-year-old. So she's going to be 4. And sometimes she pops in my videos, and actually people love it. Like it's actually they probably love that more than me.
I have seen her do that just once, where she kept popping out from behind your chair.
Yeah, she's
like the highlight of the day.
Yeah. So that I mean, like I said, just roll with it, right? Like I don't know, maybe it's my personality too. Like if she pops up, she pops up. Like I'm not gonna get upset. Like you ruined the video. Like so, it actually makes it even better. and working around that schedule. I know a lot of people are like, well, what do? I have kids. Well, I literally would wake up. I wake up before everybody else wakes up. So like, it's just like, I don't know. It's the flexibility is like looking at your schedule. Like, how can you make it work? You know, what do you need to adjust so that you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your family. And we do, the reason why I started an online business even before all this COVID is to really have a lifestyle business that you dream of, like, so that you can go do whatever you want to do. Like, I mean, it's not just about working from home. I always wanted to work from home. But it's about creating the life that you want to live. So whether it's, working before everybody wakes up and like then having the rest of the afternoon to take a walk and like go do stuff that you want to do, and or having the income that you wanted to create so that you can go do those things that you want to do. So it's, I don't know, to me, I actually am super lucky too that I have a supportive family too. So I do wake up earlier than everybody else, but I also stay up later too. So if you're not a morning person, you just can't get up, you want to wake up, without an alarm, that's great. Like, I wake up whenever I want to wake up, but maybe I'm just so excited about what I do too. I'm so passionate about it. Like I don't need an alarm, but I literally wake up just early just so I can have my own time. And then I also just, I'm just so obsessed. So maybe I don't know. People are like, when do you ever sleep? Because I do stay up early and stay up late too sometimes. But I don't know. It's that
Sounds like an
balancing act.
entrepreneur right there, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're passionate about what you're doing, it does create a bounce up for your morning start where you just want to bounce right out of the bed,
Yes.
So find what you're passionate about. It'll make it a little bit easier. So future plans. I mean, there's all these tools and technologies and opportunities and challenges too, of course. But like, what are your future plans? Like, what do you want to do when you grow up?
That's a good one. I did a live stream yesterday about there's actually 3 different business models, like a reoccurring, one of them is a recurring revenue model, but I'm working right now on creating programs that, as a multimillionaire, sometimes millionaires actually have over 7 different types of revenue streams. So I'm working on that. And one of the 3 of them or 3 programs that I'm working on to fulfill those income streams are a program that would give me 40 to 50% in profit margin, which is easy to do when you are talking about creating a course or creating some kind of digital product, because you don't have to pay for an actual tangible, like physical, right, or your own expertise, right? And then there's another product that I'm working on, or a program that would be under $1,000, and would just be used strictly, or the purpose of it is to get in front of a new audience. And whether I use ads or something, it's also known as a jargon word, but a self-liquidating offer. And also have a recurring revenue, which would be a mentorship program that I'm working on. So that would be a monthly recurring revenue. So having those three types of business models is super exciting to me, because like,
it is super exciting. It is. I always tell my kids, if they were actually in the background, they'd be laughing right now, because I always tell my kids the way to financial freedom is multiple sources of income. Don't look at just one job or one business. Find ways that you have multiple sources. And in fact, if one shuts down, especially with the climate that we're living in, it creates other opportunities for income. And if one shuts down, you have the opportunity to fill in that gap versus one shuts down and you're done. So my kids literally repeat it back to me. Like, where I'll say, what's the path to financial freedom? And both of them say, multiple sources of income. Yeah. So I love that you included that for future thinking. And I wish that more people would look at that. Like, even if you had a full-time job at GM or Microsoft or whatever. It's smart. And even the people that are executives there, most likely that's not their only source of income. Most likely they have either investments or they've started working on, depending on the company, if they're allowed to, other projects, or owning a restaurant. I've heard of multiple doctors. They actually even do that, where they are a doctor, but then they own restaurants and bars and little side businesses. And it's smart.
It's a way to create wealth. And also, well, I think I missed one of the main parts of it is to also help you build an influence too. Because with influence, not only am I here to create, income and create a currency of money, but to create a currency of relationships. And with that, with relationships and an audience and money, all three of those things will help you create wealth.
And I think that's why it was working with that gentleman that you were talking about earlier. It wasn't about like bottom line, what's the check? You're looking at long term of other things that could come and investing in people. You've probably heard this before. You're well written. Is what would you rather have? If time and money. If you had to give up one, which one do you give up? Well, this is the thing. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And the same thing, if you're looking at that in terms of investing in relationships with people, it is an investment of your time, but it can multiply, compound interest even better than any stock option, So, but you got to find the right people that you invest in, including yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's also something that I continue to, and I actually have been investing heavily in myself lately. So you can see more of that, and you'll see a progression of that too. So I've actually invested in a lot more coaches in the last few months.
I love that. And I'm doing that as well every single day. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what is your handle? Like, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can. I'm very Googleable. So Stacia Kennedy, StaciaKennedy.com. My Instagram is Stacia Kennedy. You can find me on Facebook.
Spell that out real quick, just in case people don't see it.
Stacia is spelled Stacia. So my business page is just Stacia. My personal Facebook page is Stacia Lou Kennedy, which was my maiden name, Stacia Lou. So a lot of people
off your tongue. Reminds me of Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the flower. Yeah. What flower? What kind of flower did you say that is?
Oh, this one's a plumeria.
Very pretty.
I'm originally born and raised from Honolulu, Hawaii, and transplanted in Seattle, Washington, and currently
she's
coming
all
from
place.
Yeah, from San Diego, California, right now.
Now we got to get you over to the East Coast.
Yeah,
that'll be the next stop. We'll bring you on up to Michigan.
Yeah.
In the summertime, though, not the winter. Well, I'm really grateful that you took the time to come chat today. I think that you shared some really inspiring golden nuggets that can help people and also make people realize they're not the only one that's on that track. You can transform it into beautiful things, whether it's a new job you're starting with somebody and maybe you're not getting as much monetary. There might be other things that you're getting back from that, and to keep on learning.
Yeah. I mean, last but not least, I don't know if I touched too much on the parenting thing, but as a mom, hey, they're never going to be that little. And, sometimes I look at her today. I was having lunch with her. My husband finally bought a table for me because we never, bringing back the no electronics. Let's actually sit down at a table instead of at our desks or in front of our couches and stuff and eating dinner on the, just off of the coffee table or something. But normally that's how it used to be. But we're shifting things in our household where we're actually wanting to sit right face to face and eat lunch and eat dinner together. And I was just looking at her this afternoon, thinking, oh my gosh, she's never going to be this little anymore. And this is the reason why I built my online business. So
Right.
take a breath, take some time, take some walks, make sure you have those moments and those experiences, and create those experiences, and not just be so focused on, how am I going to make the money?
Exactly. Because that will come, especially if you keep being persistent. But those fleeting moments, they go by when they're little. It goes by so fast. My mom had a dear friend. Her name was Wanda. Unfortunately, she passed away a while ago. But one day she had come over our house, and I had this antique mirror that had all these fingerprints, like handprints, all over the bottom of it. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I forgot to clean that spot before, company got here. And Wanda paused in front of that mirror and almost started crying. And she said, this is the most beautiful, perfect mirror ever. Don't change it. Don't wash it. And she said, those little handprints all over it. She said, this is so beautiful. And it's funny because now I actually stop and I look at little kid handprints totally differently. My boys are bigger now. If they put handprints on there, I'm gonna smack them upside their head once. But when they're little, after that, I just started really looking and enjoying those little things because they are fleeting moments in our life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all those moments are the stories that you're going to tell on the internet. So don't be so stuck on like what's going on Facebook. Go and actually have real moments so that you could actually have something to share about. And then
yeah. And she is a little cutie. I got to tell you, she looks like a little miniature version of you
with blonde hair.
Yeah,
blonde.
Lighter.
Guys,
is it blonde? Yeah.
You guys, it's turning darker now, but it was super blonde before. And you guys, if you're just listening to the audio, I have completely black Asian hair. Okay. And she's blonde. It's great.
I love that. See, that's the genetic cue. You never know what you're going to get. My, half of my cousins are Latino. And when my one cousin, her youngest daughter was born, she came out like blonde hair, blue eyes. And it was, okay, whose baby is this? But yeah, you never know what you're going to get, Yeah, but she is a beautiful little thing. But she does look like a miniature version of you. Oh. So I'm expecting to see her on the hot mic in maybe another 15 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the time while you get her little still. Well, Stacia, thank you again. We appreciate you so much. I hope that you have a year full of prosperity and you continue sharing all those golden little nuggets because I know that I'm loving all the wisdom you're sharing with me. And I wish you abundance and success. So we'll catch up with you later. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.